Bam Mueller is the head baseball coach at the University of Albany. He's a Stillwater legend and a good friend of ours, and he joins us with his baseball season right around the corner as well. Year 18, Bam? 18? Are you an 18, 19?
Yeah, Raj, I'm getting up there, and thanks for having me, bud.
Always a pleasure, man. Let's start with the MLB news. What is your thought? You're a big baseball guy, obviously. What's your reaction to this move by MLB on the intentional walk rule?
I like the idea of having him throw it there. I think it's something that, you know, it's a pretty simple thing, but it leaves some room for error in the game. I'm hoping that MLB doesn't move closer to the NBA and they're going to start playing music during the games too. So I think that you got to, you know, leave baseball alone in some of these things, and especially something as simple as that.
Does this take away any drama, in your opinion, in late innings?
Well, I think it always does, especially for some of those power arms that come in at the end of the game. Some of these guys are so programmed to, you know, 94, 98, one pitch, maybe 1.5 pitch guys that can locate down at the knees, but you ask them to do something else and they're unable to do that, and you may see a wild pitch, and it's almost like a field goal. The NFL is actually acting the other way and moving the extra point back and adding a little bit more drama. And I think that what MLB is doing is reducing some drama for time restraints.
Speaking of time, and this has not been approved yet, but what's next, Bam? How about your thoughts on time limit on instant replay? Where would you stand on that?
I think that's good. I do like instant replay. I think that it's blown out of proportion in some sports. I think they just come up with a program where fair foul and home runs, fan interference, some things like that I think are useful, but you know, I'd actually like to see them get away from having that box in front of the hitter, because it puts so much pressure on the umpires. If that's what they're going to do, then get rid of the umpires and just go by the box, and guys can just be called out by a computer.
Oh, Bam,
it's still a game that humans have to play, so let's leave some of the human error in there.
Bam, you're talking about the K zone on TV, like the digital, almost like the first down line in football.
Yeah, I think that's great for the viewer, and selfishly speaking, I do enjoy that. But I actually I feel a little sensitive to the umpires, because the umpires are a great part of this game, and you know, I think that there's got to be some of the great things about being consistent is being inconsistent. Some guys like the ball down, and you know that. It's like in basketball. You see officials that they're not going to call anything. Okay, we know that, so we have to deal with that. But I think that some of that human error is part of what makes sports great. You know, I can't believe he didn't call nothing. You know, if someone goes up for a basket at the end of an NBA game, you put your whistle away. Well, why are you putting your whistle away then? Put your whistle away in the first quarter. That's kind of my view on it.
Bam, what do you think about them tossing around the idea of raising the strike zone? Because they said over the last decade and a half, the strike zone has dropped 3 inches. Do you like the idea of raising it to the top of the knee? And the thought behind that is to increase offense.
I do like that, actually, because it's ironic you asked me that, because yesterday I looked at the NCAA rules for this year, and my assistant, Coach Kyer, and I looked at it, and he said, look where the strike zone is. And I know when we go to Longwood this weekend, we're going to bury a couple four-seam fastballs right down the middle of the plate, and they're going to call it a ball. I mean, I already know that's coming. But I like the idea of making guys, forcing kids to be a little bit more aggressive, go after, not chase balls, but let's expand the zone, and that's going to speed the game up. If guys are going to get called out, and I can't believe that was a strike, well, you know what? You got to swing the bat. That's going to get the game moving. You know, the shoebox umpire and you know, we can't get the ball around the zone. Well, guys know that. You know, if you're a 12-year veteran, you know you're not going to get banged out on a 50-50 call, so you walk down the first. So, I mean, I think that's a piece of it. There's a number of ways they can speed this game up. Number one, though, that's a great point. Let's make that big zone a little bit bigger. Make it like it's supposed to be. Look in the rules. It says it's just below armpits. It's letters to the top of the knees. That's supposed to be the strike zone.
We're talking with John Bam Bam Mueller, phenomenal athlete from Stillwater, doing a phenomenal job as the head baseball coach at the University at Albany, and back in the day, those Diamond Dog days, that's where he got it was Bam Bam, man. And Bam Bam, he smashed the heck out of the baseball. Here's one for you, Bam. I'm at a Colony Little League board meeting the other night. I'm going to be coaching in the majors this year, which is 10s, 11s, and 12s. here's one of the things that the umpires may be enforcing at that level for a player. You cannot step out of the batter's box completely, and they may call it on you. In other words, if you're in the batter's box, you can step out, but you have to keep 1 foot in the batter's box, step out with the other foot. You can't completely come out of the box to fool around and look down and get yourself set and then get back in. You got to keep 1 foot in and 1 foot out. How about your thoughts on that?
I don't have a problem with that, to be quite honest with you, either, because in college baseball, what it has become to when you go to a bigger school, you know, every guy has their walkout song, and they want to listen to their entire walkout song before they get from the dugout to home plate. And then they step out of the box, and, you know, if they're the home team, usually the umpire will give them a little bit more leeway. And then, of course, when the Danes come up there, it's like, hey, I watch the umpire point at my guy, get in the box. So, once again, if it's going to be consistent and it's going to be fair for everybody, no problem. But after 19 years of watching this stuff, and I've been to all those big schools, Georgia Tech, Duke, NC State, Miami, all those big boys, the rules are never really enforced correctly, and you become numb to it. You just tell your guys, don't say a word, we're not going to get a call, we're not going to get a pitch, deal with it, and move on.
And to further that point, at our meeting, our president, Ron Filkins, does a great job of running Colony Little League, and believe me, it's a tall task for any president trying to run a Little League. It's not easy. But he did follow up and say, now whether he's just giving us a warning at the major league level that the umpires might be, Bam, enforcing that. So you're right. I mean, are they going to enforce it? Are some days they're going to enforce it? On some games they're not. Is there going to be any consistency?
The bottom line is this, and I like the inconsistency with the human element. But when it comes to the rules and the procedures, and you can see this at every level, I've watched it at Half Moon Baseball. I watched it in Burnox Westerlo at the varsity girls basketball game last night, with Coach Carlin. You're not going to call it, or you're going to call it. If you're not going to call it, don't call anything. And it's the same thing. As long as it's consistent, and, Coach Weiland knows that, Coach Bai knows that, Coach, everybody knows the deal, then you can inform your players, you can communicate effectively and say, hey, listen, keep your foot in the box. Don't complain about it because this is different. This is how it is now. Let's move forward. And I like it because I think it's going to eliminate some of that basketball music type mentality that there is in sports. I mean, I get it. People they have to sell merchandise. They have to do that. But at the same time, let's try to keep this game great. You want to speed it up? There you go. You got two great examples. Make the strike zone bigger. Keep your foot in the box. Let's get moving.
Bam,
unless if you're getting a sign or if you need to tie your shoe, I get it. But
Bam,
I think those two things will help. Go ahead.
Bam, you mentioned walkout music. What would be your walkout song if you were still playing?
I love music. I only have 7 minutes, so I can't go into great detail. But I will say this: as much as I'm not going to say hate the Yankees, but as much as I love the Red Sox, I did love Paul O'Neill's walkout song, "Teenage Wasteland." Was unbelievable when he came out to that. I mean, that was absolutely incredible. But the Undertaker's walkout song is probably the greatest ever. I mean, I don't know if you're a big WWE guy, but when The Undertaker came out, I mean, I don't know if there's a greater song to human mankind. That was unbelievable.
Oh, yeah.
Bam, listen, I want to let you, as I mentioned, Bam, you're with us. He's the baseball coach at the University of Albany, very knowledgeable on the sport. And we had the news today on the MLB rule changes for 2017. But I want to couple that with your program and your team as you get set to start a new season. What are the expectations for this year's team? How good do you think you'll be? And I know you get ready to start this coming weekend.
Well, I think that the goal is always to get to the NCAA tournament. It's been 10 years since we've been there. I think that we're built a little bit more sturdy than we've been. 3 years ago we were down. 2 years ago we were a little bit better. And last year we made a nice little stride forward and got a couple wins in the America East tournament. And we started a lot of freshmen. The two of our best Penn guys are both freshmen last year. They're back with third baseman, shortstop. And we also have four fifth-year seniors in the middle of the lineup to kind of bully some people. And Kyle Sachs is a local guy, Evan Harasta, Matt Hinchy, a few of the guys that are going to anchor the middle of that. But I think that we have a good chance in a very, very competitive league.
Are you strong this year in the starting rotation? Bam, it always starts on the mound. How's that pitching staff going to work this year?
Well, I'm going to add to what you said. It starts and it ends on the mound. It always does. And I think that we have Marcus Fowling, a kid from Fort Plain, who's really made a nice step forward. JT Genovese, a 6'9" righty that caught the eyes of some scouts, the MLB scouts at Scout Day this past fall. He's a real interesting guy, and it's going to be interesting. The great thing is you get on that bus, you put some movies on like Hoosiers that the guys have never seen. You start really getting to commiserate with the guys and getting that great team bond. And we're looking forward to going to Longwood Friday, and then next weekend it's San Francisco, Winthrop twice, and the defending national champion, Coastal Carolina, down in Coastal Carolina. So we're certainly not going to open up with any easy wins, that's for sure.
Bam, keep up the good work. Thanks for your thoughts on the rule changes for the 2017 season. Good luck to you, UAlbany Great Danes. We'll be paying close attention, and we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, thanks, fellas. Go Danes.